we have Calvin Sue versus Damien Scott V.
Yeah, so Calvin's going to be playing Infernoids while Damien's going to be playing Evilswarm.
Quite an interesting matchup, although the long run does favor Calvin because sure, Ophion can prevent the boss monsters from coming out, but the small Infernoids can get rid of the Ophion.
Yeah, so Calvin just needs to summon Harmodic and pop Ophion. No biggie.
Or Antra to bounce it.
Or Antra, yeah.
Bouncing would be better.
Yeah, in this case.
Here, handshake to begin. Good, courteous players. Not like what we've seen so far.
Okay.
Well, let's see who's starting.
So, I think...
Damien, I believe, is starting.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. Sets. 3 cards. Pass his turn.
No Ophion first turn, so...
That's too bad.
Probably not the best opening hand.
Well, Calvin, does he have a reasoning? No, opens with a Lumina. Does that mean he doesn't have charge? Probably.
Well, if he had charge, he'd probably play charge and get Raiden first.
Yeah, get a mill first. You can do it too. So that's 1. Swings for 1,000. 1,000 goes through, of course.
Mills, Book of Eclipse, Deviati, and
charge. There's the charge we spoke of.
And I think Infernoid players don't play too much back row, so...
Summons Caster into Thunderbird now. So overall, pretty safe. Thunderbird attacks. Into a mirror force.
Okay, so
he does play.
Calvin does play a bit of back row here.
Pretty smart mirror force so far.
Well, he can chain the Thunderbird's effect, but Caster's gonna die. No Pandemic.
Oh, that's too bad. Pandemic would have been great. But a 1 for 1 for that mirror force. So standby phase, Thunderbird comes back, increases his attack as well. Hold on, what's going on here?
Alright, so
Vanish 3. Oh, picks from hand. Gets a Deviati out.
Okay,
Heavy
so Deviati's a heavy storm, so that's gonna clear away all of Damien's back row.
Oh, that's a...
This is a risky play for Calvin. He just banished 3 cards out of his hand.
Oh yeah, it's pretty heavy. So if he does not clear 3 cards, it's gonna be a minus.
Yeah. Oh, and Damien does have the Fiendish Chain there.
Fiendish Chain. Oh, negating Deviati.
Does Calvin have a response? Maybe. Okay, so so he has the Void Seer.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
So that's gonna allow Deviati's effect to go through. That's pretty good.
Void Seer has 2 effects. One is like a material, like 101, those Edmains, and the other one is unaffected by all other card effects. Wipes an MST. Like
there are 2 MSTs in Damien's back row.
I think he could have used the MST to kill that Mirror Force earlier.
I probably would have blind MST'd that. It's the 1 back row, so.
Well, blind MSTing off of 1 card is not that bad.
Yeah.
It's not like there's anything left. And phase Luma Mill 3 heals a Reasoning, Harmodic, and a Burial. Yeah, there we go.
So Thunderbird comes back.
Confirming the effect of Thunderbird. Raigeki goes down.
Oh, we do have the Void Seer in the graveyard, so it's just Lumina that's gonna die.
That Deviati is putting in some work.
It's pretty big too. He's gonna Rhoda. And I think Damien has no cards in hand, so he's in a pretty tight spot here.
Well, at least, no matter what Damien exceeds into, Deviati can pretty much tribute itself off for the cost.
Yeah.
And then not be affected. And it will remain in graveyard. So technically, it's still in play, or in hand, per se.
I believe Deviati can tribute itself or another monster on the field to negate a monster effect. So anything Damien really exceeds into here is going to be negated by Deviati.
He needs a crazy box.
Crazy box can't attack though, so.
Hey.
And to attack it would have to activate its effect.
It would it would make Calvin think twice. Like, depends on what he rolls, right? And you'll have to activate the Deviati beforehand, before the roll.
Yeah. Do you really want to get him on a crazy box?
Other than that, I don't think there's any big monster that Deviati won't negate. I think Crazy Box is the only one that he probably won't negate.
Yeah. No.
Other monsters are too small.
I think that's a Ghost Rare Dark Rebellion Xyz Dragon.
Oh, Banish. There goes.
Yeah, so
that's a heavy minus there.
There's Deviati's effect. Damien has no cards, I believe.
Top decking versus... Oh, bench 1. Harmonic is out. Factor 16. He's at 15. Overall, Calvin is in a really good position now.
Yeah, Damien's top decking. The one back row.
Harmonic attacks into a Fiendish Chain. Being a forced Fiendish Chain to keep himself alive.
Yeah.
Vanishes the Harmonic and summons a Septimus.
It has to kill a monster to banish something.
I don't know what I can say about this.
I don't
It's
know
like,
what Damien can even top deck here.
It's very one-sided. Someone's a Thunderbird. I guess I can kill the Harmonic, maybe. But Harmonic can banish a card. Just letting it die.
Just lets it. Okay.
Okay. Because there's no real threat. The only thing that Harmonic could do is just remove targets for Kirkion. So Septimus attacks. Still alive. Just barely holding on to this game. Sets 1, passes turn. Ah, there's that Kirkion.
Damien top decks a Kirkion. That's pretty good. But I believe Calvin can use Sidesmith's effect to banish the monster that Damien targets to add back to his hand with Kirkion's effect. So
yeah, and there's only one Harmonic in the grave right now. In other words, if Septimus dies, he really can't get Septimus back out right away. Septimus is activating.
Banish the caster, and I'll banish the Thunderbird.
So Thunderbird has been banished, the target of Kirkion. Okay. Kirkion swings.
it's fine. Calvin's not really in any kind of bad position here. He can just summon and beat over Kirkion pretty easily.
Yeah, he's not near lethal yet. Draws a card. What is he going for? Counts as graveyard right now. Summons a Raiden. Oh, he mills another. There he is.
That's a pretty good mill.
Yeah, that mill attacked the game
I think
right
that
there.
mill sealed the game. Top deck Raiden though.
It's pretty good. Well, game 1 goes to Calvin with Infernoids. So, we're moving on to game 2 here. Calvin took game 1 with his Infernoids. Totally just outpaced Damien. I wonder what's going to happen in this game.
I don't know. It's hard to say. A lot really depends on if Calvin can build up his graveyard and get some Infernoids in there, and how much what the nature of the back row that Damien draws into to see if he can control the game through Ophion.
All right. So opens with 3 sets again. No monster summoning. Yes, I think he's already aware. Oh, Reasoning opening turn. That's really good for
Reasoning
Infernoids.
right off the bat here. Let's see what he's gonna mill. So Damien calls 4. He mills Charge, Reasoning, Shadow Mirror,
And Tondel,
and he hits the Raiden. So Raiden's gonna go to the graveyard and not special summon itself.
that's a pretty good call. Good call on Damien.
The other thing here is that I see Calvin sided in Shadow Imprisoning Mirror against Evilswarm, which really isn't a great side deck choice against that deck. It doesn't stop Ophion's
Does not stop
continuous
Caster.
negation. Yeah, it doesn't stop Caster. Mandragora is an inherent special summon, so
Not that great. So he summons out the Patrulia. Using Patrulia's effect to pop it back row, but Fiendish Chain has been chained on top. Passes turn. Well, Calvin's not off to a very good start. He did lose another Reasoning on top of that, so
yeah.
that's a
And
terrible
a Charge.
Most of his mill cards have... A lot of mill cards have been milled. Unfortunate.
Yeah.
So that's another card. 4 card back row here. Well, 3 unknowns and 1 Fiendish Chain.
Calvin's just
sets
gonna set one.
passes turn.
Calvin's hand must not be very good. He must not be able to summon out too many Infernoids, so...
Caster has been normal summoned. And off of that, a Kirkion.
Yeah.
Overlay.
So he's probably going to make Ophion here.
OP on. Well, this will stop the big guys from coming on with this amount of back row. Hopefully he can hold the board.
Yeah. So he's going to search for Infestation Pandemic.
Well, that makes it safe against Harmadic. No, it does not.
No, that
My bad.
only stops it from spells and traps.
Yeah, like we said, it's too many options to pop it. So Ophion swings into the Patrulia, dealing damage to Calvin here. Full back row.
That's probably just the Pandemic, though.
So it's still, that means the other three are still quite scary. Yeah. So Antra has been summoned.
Yeah. And I believe Antra returns a face-up monster on the opponent's field to the hand. So he's going to try and bounce Ophion here.
What's going to happen here? A Fiendish
There's another
Chain.
Fiendish Chain.
The other Fiendish Chain actually shouldn't be on board.
He's going to chain Void Seer.
Void Seer will stop the Fiendish Chain for the turn. However, once Void Seer expires, the Fiendish Chain will reattach. Antra being 2k wall. That's stronger than most of the small monsters.
Yeah, but it's only got 0 attack, so it's not really putting any offensive pressure on Damien.
But he can still banish stuff off of Kirkion. Like if Kirkion uses effect to target a card in the grave, Antra can definitely banish the coming target, even under Fiendish Chain, because attributing his cost.
Right.
So Summoner Monk has been summoned.
That's an interesting tech. I don't see many Evilswarm players.
Throws away a Rhoda. It's a second Summoner Monk.
Okay. Could we be seeing a Key Beetle Emptiness play here? Key Beetle Emptiness would pretty much win the game for Damien.
Yeah, and with two potential back row that we don't know.
Yeah, 2 back row.
Like one is a Pandemic, we already know that.
Right.
So if there's a Key Beetle Emptiness, it's over.
Yeah.
But he summons out a Nightmare.
Okay, Evilswarm Nightmare.
He does book cards, right?
Yeah.
Book monsters, special summon ones?
So it lets him, detach a material to flip a special summon monster face down.
That's okay. It's a bit of a standstill game here.
Yeah, Calvin's gonna use Antra's ability to try and bounce.
But that's not possible.
No, it's already being affected by Fiendish Chain, so I'm not sure why Damien's chaining Skill Drain. So
it does not resolve. Why don't we... we'll come fix the situation.
Yeah. Yeah, so what should be happening here is Nightmare should still be on board because Fiendish Chain is affecting Antra regardless.
So, however, because those cards were still played...
Yeah.
And technically, Antra can activate, it's just it will be negated.
Right.
The MST and Skill Drain will remain off the board.
Yeah, so a little bit of a misplay here by our 2 players, but...
Oh, top deck. What's going on here? So we know one of the cards, the one that he just looked at is probably the Pandemic. This is the unknown he's looking at now. And Calvin really lacks Infernoid monsters in this game.
Yeah, he hasn't drawn into his power mill cards or anything, so...
And he milled some of them too, which is really, really bad. He's not in a good position. Compulse.
So he's going to compulse the Antra.
Well, at least Damien's trying to advance the game state, but it's a -1.
That's a questionable play, I think.
It's a -1. So someone's up Caster again. Caster swings for another 1750. Ooh.
This is only me. Can or you can. Option. Your opponent.
Confirming the effects of Nightmare, but Nightmare still does slow down Calvin a bit. His turns are not as effective even if he drops a special summon monster.
Yeah, Calvin's checking his graveyard, but there's nothing in there to help him.
He has an Antra in hand.
Yeah.
Does he have a Harmodic?
The thing is, anything he special summons out is going to be stopped by Nightmare, right? Since the effects are all ignition effects, they don't trigger when summoned. So if they're flip face down by Nightmare, he won't be able to activate them.
Oh, Book of Eclipse.
Oh, he has the Eclipse. Okay, so Calvin can summon something out and potentially get rid of those monsters before he can draw.
Yeah, but if he doesn't get rid of any of those monsters, 2-card draw.
That would be a 2-card draw. That wouldn't be very good.
I don't think it's gonna.
But I don't think
well.
Calvin would do that. Okay, so he summoned
Harmodic.
and Harmodic, yeah, that's gonna blow up Evilswarm Nightmare, but it can't attack the turn that it uses this effect.
So the other monster will live, and
Damien's gonna draw a
Damien's
card
gonna flip
when
and a
caster
draw.
gets flip face up. And he gets his draw for turn. Okay.
Ooh,
Okay, so let's see what Damien got here.
it's not very good. Mandragora.
He gets Mandragora.
Harmodic's only 16. So,
Yeah, so caster should be able to run over it.
yeah. And I think Calvin needs to preserve life points, so he's not gonna banish any cards in Damien's graveyard. Life points is running seriously low now. With 2 level 4s on board, is he going to go into an Exceed play?
Yeah, he's probably gonna make Ophion here.
So Ophion again. Since he already has the Pandemic,
Yeah.
he's most likely going to add...
He's probably gonna add Infection here, just in case he draws something that's dead.
Though, I don't think there's very many monsters in Evilswarm that would be dead in this particular situation. Most of them do have high attack, or decent amount of attack.
Yeah, but I mean, I'd shuffle back the Heliotrope or the Mandragora and add back a Kyrkion and try to make a bigger play.
That's true.
Sets the Infection and Calvin's turn.
Is there any play he could follow up with? 3-card hand.
That Harmodic's engraved, but unfortunately, since it's a little Infernoid, it can only be special summoned from hand, so he has to banish it.
Petrulia.
And Petrulia has the option to destroy back row, but it can't attack that turn.
I don't know if that was necessary to destroy those back row. I think Calvin read that it's a Pandemic and an infection. There's no point in using
Yeah.
Petrulia at this point.
And he passes turn. Didn't really do anything.
Most likely Petrulia will be destroyed by battle from Ophion. I believe this game is reaching its conclusion now.
Yeah, just about.
2 cards in Calvin's hand, and he has not really played those 2 cards. Well, one being Antra still, but it doesn't really make it too much of a difference at the moment. Although the Antra can remove the Ophion.
So he's gonna use Ophion's effect here.
I think it's pretty smart, because he does know that there's an Antra in Calvin's hand, and with the Antra, there's no point in holding on extra materials where you can actually just give yourself a +1. Since most likely Ophion will be bounced back.
Well,
into
and the
extra deck.
Pandemic was destroyed too, right? So he wants that extra bit of a protection in case Calvin draws into a Dark Hole or a Raigeki.
So was that Caster again? Wow,
Caster.
I think we've seen all 3 Casters in this game.
Oh,
And into a Thunderbird.
and he does have the Thunderbird, so he has a follow-up.
I think this is game damage.
Yeah, that's over 5,000 points of damage here.
This is game here. There's no response. 1750, and then with the Thunderbird, that should be more than enough.
Yeah.
And And it's game.
And that's game, so
There's one more game after this.
yeah, let's go on to game 3.
So this game, last game was pretty one-sided, but it was also very passive.
Yeah, I think Calvin's definitely hoping that he can get a few more mills off here, and not milling his mill cards, but milling his Infernoid monsters. Like,
oh, opens a Thunder King. Well, not the greatest. I guess it stops the Ophion summon and prevents a Rhoda.
yeah. Oh, Damien opened Rescue Rabbit. What a guy. And those
Two Heliotropes can run over Thunder King.
Those Heliotropes are 1950.
That extra 50 putting in work. Really good opening for Damien.
Yeah.
Here. I would always want to open with a rabbit, even if it means going second. There's an emptiness on the other hand. Ooh.
Oh, that'd be pretty sad.
But I don't think the Infernoids run emptiness.
I think it's an option.
Well, it's an option for every deck.
Yeah. But it's just a one of, right? So
Maybe. You get milled most of the time.
Heliotrope's going to attack. Is that going to go through?
Oh, it
it
goes
is.
through.
Dang.
Thunder King is dead.
That's unfortunate.
100 damage total going through.
Or 2,000.
Sorry, 2,000.
And yeah, he's going to overlay, make that first turn Ophion that...
The dream of Evilswarm. Shadowmere.
Oh, oh,
Still pay the cost of detach.
sure.
Oh, I guess he got off his effect.
Yeah, the Shadowmere worked here. I still don't think it's a very good side deck card.
No. Because Ophion can still attack and is still a 2550 body. Sets 3 again. Damien with the set 3.
I saw Damien have a Dimensional Fissure in hand. I'm not quite sure why he's not activating it.
Yeah, that is a bit strange. Dimensional Fissure will force Calvin into a desperate MST situation.
Oh, but Calvin just passed his turn.
Oh no.
Yeah, it doesn't look like he can do anything here.
Does he have a dead hand? Does he have a bunch of big monsters in hand? With
Yeah.
Ophion holding the board, he can't really do too much. So Ophion swings for 2550.
That's 4,550 damage so far.
Ooh. He's halfway to game.
Sets one more card. Oh,
Reasoning.
he chains Macrocosmos.
Oh, brutal.
So that explains why he didn't play the D-Fissure.
This is brutal.
Yeah.
Cards are getting banished. So even with Ophion on the field, you can still play Reasoning, but if he does hit a valid level 6 or higher target, it just goes to the graveyard.
5
in
or
this
higher
case,
target.
it gets banished.
Yeah.
Antra gets compulsed.
Oof.
Oh man.
Normally, that I would say that's a bad play, but given how restricted Calvin's resources are,
He's stuck.
Yeah.
In other words, he's no longer in control of this entire game. A lot of the plays are being forced out. Of course, forced plays are usually suboptimal.
and Calvin's at less than half life. He has to play pretty conservatively here.
With 2 other back row, this is going to be a very, very difficult spot to get out of. Macrocosmos putting in, sealing the deal.
That's a one of two.
I know, and he also has D-Fissure. That's 2 one-of cards in his hand. Really lucky.
This way summons the Petrulia.
Petrulia. Oh, that's pretty good. He can actually get rid of the Macrocosmos. But gets Fiendish
Oh, he has
Chain.
the Fiendish Chain,
He
man.
has the answers.
Typical Evilswarm player has everything. And he
Helia-
draws that third Heliotrope. But,
I'm seeing triples from Damien all day.
but in this case, the Heliotrope's pretty good because it's a 1950 body.
Because I think there's going to be only 1 turn after Calvin's turn.
Yeah, let's see. I think Calvin needs a really godly top deck to pull something out here, but
Not looking good. Raigeki won't work. There's a pandemic.
yeah, I don't.
Book of Eclipse.
Maybe.
But then he doesn't have anything to summon anyone big. Ooh. This is tough.
Yeah, Calvin's
It's a
his only play is to
Antra.
special summon back that Antra. Oh, so you use it. Okay, so he's gonna
down.
let that go through.
bounces back. Well, he has past turn. There's nothing else he can follow up with.
Yeah.
So that's one.
Well, that Heliotrope can't beat over Antra, so.
Lucky break for Calvin. Bouncing back Heliotrope. It's infection.
Oh, so he's gonna shuffle back that Heliotrope and get.
Well, at least he can switch out his resources. Goes
gonna
for
get a caster.
Ooh.
So he probably has another Evilswarm in his hand. We can go summon caster and then summon
Always
another
on
guy
the-
and
Make an
overlay.
exceed play.
Yeah. We see caster into
Kirkion.
Kirkion. Now without a graveyard, that's not as optimal, but I mean,
Yeah, what can you do? It's not bad. If he makes a caster. Cowboy.
cowboy. Does that get
Cowboy's game.
The cowboy for game.
Well, that was unexpected. I was actually hoping that Infernoid monster would.
Yeah, but that macro Cosmos pretty much sealed the deal there, I think.
And then there's a D fissure that as we saw, this game was totally in Damien's favor. So round 2 at table 1 goes to Damien. So if you like this video, please give us a like, and of course subscribe if you want to see more MOS Alpha tournament duels. And as always, don't forget to hold on to your MST.TV.